So the claim that I'll be refuting today is that the two-party system is producing significant disadvantages to our democracy. And the advocate states that their secondary claims are the two-party system encourages close-mindedness of its citizens. The two-party system perpetuates political power of the parties. And lastly, that the government is less effective because of the two-party system. For their first secondary claim, the advocate uses a statistic that says that our country is split down the middle into these two parties, the Republican and Democrats, but do not explain how this is a disadvantage to our democracy. While this actually promotes opposing views and a broad spectrum of ways to solve problems in our government, I also believe that the two-party system is easier to grasp, as people have an easier time picking between the two parties' major issues. The two parties are also based on having similar beliefs, thus people have an easier time associating with one party or another. For their secondary point, two-party system perpetuates political power of the parties, and they back this up by saying that the two-party system results in gerrymandering, which affects our democracy. However, this can be a good thing because according to Politico.com, if gerrymandering did not exist, there would be an imbalance in wasted votes statewide. Gerrymandering creates a district with narrow but potentially decisive advantages, while not having it would cause many wasted votes due to votes being packed into a smaller number of lopsided districts. Another thing which contradicts the claim is that people can make better decisions when having fewer choices. The two-party system simplifies choices and clarifies issues, as well as helps people determine who can lead the country better. Without this simplified system, for some people it would be like going through a maze. The final point is that the government is less effective because of the two-party system. The advocate undermines their claims with their statement that only 3 times has a president not had to deal with this divided government. And this is not true because our government has been effective since then, and people prefer, and also another statement they made is that people prefer government because having this split government, and people like this, it is what the majority like, and that's what makes our democracy. The advocate then goes on to state that divided government works against itself, and I believe that divided government actually is more effective. This is because political stability is achieved, and having two parties does not encourage sudden shifts in political trends, which can lead to government instability. Political stability also promotes growth and decisiveness due to one party gaining the majority of elections. And this is why the party system does not produce disadvantages to our democracy.
All right, structurally everything's clear to follow. The position that you take on these individual points is primarily to take a counter position that suggests that there is kind of like the opposite is true, that the split down the middle, I think you challenged their reasoning on this. Why is that particularly a bad thing? It seems like it's easier to group people together that way. People are identified by their value systems and what brings them together. And you just ask the question, what's wrong with that? So that's a reasonable press to make on that argument. I think some demonstration that people being unified around common values has resulted in better government would be helpful. If you had an example of something you could point to, that would be really, in the long run, useful to you. The argument about gerrymandering is okay. I think it's a little inside baseball as to what's going on there, and you need to give it a little bit more background so people understand what it is that you mean when you talk about imbalance and lopsided districts, so that we understand that the point of gerrymandering is to increase the power of an electoral group and give them greater influence, and that otherwise they're diverted and their political power is divided up in some way, and they're less likely to have any influence on the process. I kind of think that's the argument that you're making there. Your third point has a lot of claims on it, not any evidence, and that's the problem with a lot of the arguments that you're making is there are good ideas there, but they are underdeveloped. You don't really have challenges to the evidence or the reasoning that the other side is making. You've just got your own claims with reasons, but without much evidence to kind of counter those positions. And I think that there are a lot of good arguments that you're making here, or a lot of interesting claims that you're making that would be applicable, but the grounds and warrants behind them are not very well developed. All right.